personable Tim Miles, head coach of Nebraska. His team visits Michigan here in Ann Arbor as we get you set for Super Tuesday, presented by Cree LED Lighting. The story here in the Big Ten this week will get us through one half of the conference season. Wisconsin, Maryland, and Indiana have clearly drawn a line as the best teams in the league. A half dozen teams on 3 losses, including the 2 here tonight. Ergo, this is an important game. Mike Tirico, Dan Dockett, Samantha Ponder will join us here in a little bit. You saw Nebraska Saturday. They beat Michigan State in Lincoln. Great crowd, great atmosphere, and great momentum boost for them as well.
4 out of 5 Nebraska's won. They feature 2 terrific players. Strand Petaway is fantastic. Maybe the best all-around player in the league. Siobhan Shields can score it at a 16 points a night clip, but they hang their hat on defense, Mike. They and Wisconsin are 2 best defensive teams in the league. They play with great energy, and as you saw, Tim Miles, he's connected with his team.
We asked just a short time ago Michigan's coach John Beilein if he's ever been through a season like this. It's incredible. More injury returns and no Derek Walton in the lineup for them. Another turn in the road here tonight.
Yeah, and that's huge. Derek Walton's a kid that we've seen go on the glass. We've seen him make big shots. He made the tying 3 against Wisconsin. He's a kid that's a leader of the team, and has happened so often this year. Michigan without a key guy, both LeVert and Walton won't be playing tonight.
Yeah, Karis LeVert is out for the season. Let's check the starting lineups. Who is playing tonight for Nebraska? They would actually go small here in this game with their lineup as they add Ty Webster, the 6'4" guard, to Parker. Petaway and Shields are 2 best players, and Walter Pitchford is back in the lineup, a Michigan native. As for the Wolverines, Spike Albrecht and Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman will start with Zach Irvin, their best offensive threat. The freshman Aubrey Dawkins and Ricky Doyle. For Dawkins, it's his 3rd consecutive start. For Abdur-Rahman, his 2nd start of the season. So lots of injury twists and turns to the Michigan lineup over the last few weeks.
You know what I like about Tim Miles, Mike? He's starting Ty Webster because Ty Webster deserves it. Ty Webster has played harder in practice. The kid that came here with great acclaim, and he played fantastic against Michigan State. And he's starting in place of Walter Pitchford, who got thrown out of the. Oh, I'm sorry, he's not starting in place of Pitchford. He's starting in Wesley Smith because he has earned it. When you do something well with Tim Miles, you earn things. So Smith out, Webster in. Good for Tim Miles.
Clock at 14. That is Webster from New Zealand in the lineup here tonight. Best player for this team, Jerand Petaway on the turnaround. He missed it. Rebound by Zach Irvin, best player on the floor for the Wolverines.
Still a good move by Tim Miles, using Pitchford to feed the bigger Petaway in the post. Petaway just missed a shot, but you can't help off Pitchford because at 7 feet, 6'11", he's a perimeter shooter first.
Freshman Ricky Doyle, one of 3 Michigan pivot men. His shot comes up short. I'm going to tell you right now, offensive rebounds are news tonight. These teams are among the bottom 8th in the country in offensive rebounding. And it's not because they're not physical teams, and they're not really, but they retreat. They don't want transition points. Tim Miles talking about that. He said his defense needs to be big here tonight. Man who's rebuilt some programs now in his 3rd year at Nebraska. Was Dan the Big Ten Coach of the Year. And he's got a nice thing going over in Lincoln. You were there Saturday and saw it firsthand.
Man, it is as nice a place as you'll ever see. Nice back screen, no help by Doyle layup.
Siobhan Shields with the first basket of the night, set up by Petaway. Who averages 2.5 assists a game.
Mike, the practice facility at Nebraska is legendary, and then they open Pinnacle Bank Arena. And there is no better place I've ever been to on a college campus or ever. I don't think so, Mike. I mean, all told, it's fantastic.
Abdur-Rahman went to pass to Doyle, and Doyle was rolling to the basket for a rebound. So it's a turnover for Michigan. Dan, you have a lot of players who have not played a ton together. And that's been the story for Michigan every game or 2. It's get used to a new starting crew.
Yeah, and you're seeing Spike Albrecht out there. He doesn't practice all the time. You see Dawkins out there with Abdur-Rahman. I mean, it's a pieced together lineup right now that John Beilein told us he thinks it'll be better in March, much better. He's kind of looking forward to the future as opposed to bemoaning what's happening right now.
Pitchford on the attack, tried to throw down. It'll go the other way as Doyle takes the charge. Walter Pitchford went for the jam, instead picks up the foul.
Yeah, but if I'm Tim Miles, I'm loving this because he wants everybody to drive. Pitchford with the shot fake went up. Watch Doyle. He meets him outside of the arch. And this is, Pitchford got up. Good play by Doyle. Good play by Pitchford.
Good call, Tim Clougherty, as well.
Right,
That's not an easy call going full speed. And the officials, Clockerty working the game tonight with Ted Valentine and Kelly Prefer, come up with a good call. Dawkins, the three from the top. Breaks the seal from Michigan, the son of Johnny Dawkins, Aubrey Dawkins, the freshman from Palo Alto.
Boy, was that good, Mike. Dawkins was coming off a back screen from Spike Albrecht, read it, went to the top of the key, got a screen, knocked it in.
Siobhan Shields protected it. Doyle standing in the way. Michigan back the other way with Irvin. Certainly Irvin, 21 in white, and Pettaway, 5 in black for Nebraska, will get the most defensive attention of any players on the floor here this evening. Irvin on the curve.
Same thing there. A great move. Irvin came off. He was against Benny Parker. He's 6'6". Parker's 5'0". He just lifted up and, hey, you missed, but you made the right decision. You made the right cut.
Several NBA scouts here tonight want to get a good look in person at Pettaway. Specifically, Parker knocks down the three from the corner. The freshman is averaging 5.5 points a game.
And that was a terrific play by Ty Webster. Ty Webster, not really a shooter, but he's a distributor. He knew what he had before he got the ball.
I said freshman, meant to say junior. Terrence Smith, the other guard who comes in, is the freshman for this Nebraska team. Irvin out of the corner, another outside shot. This one short again, and on the rebound it's Webster. Pitchford looking over for direction. Good ball movement. Their three best players there. Touch it, Pettaway, Shields, Pitchford, a pick and pop man at 6'10", off on that three, but he has a good looking stroke.
Yeah, he's a great looking stroke. He's what NBA bigs look like, pick and pop and shoot it. But I thought when he got the ball in the lane, he should have gone ahead and scored it.
I thought he was going to turn and score. Or shoot.
He needs to do that. I mean, he drove it, which is what Miles wants. He needed to take it there and dominate inside.
Low-scoring, grinded-out game for Michigan on Saturday. Doyle the miss. Irvin couldn't get the rebound. Wolverines losing in overtime to Wisconsin, 69-64. Good effort against what to this point has been the best team in the Big Ten. Off the miss by Pettaway. Michigan back the other way. Both teams cold, a combined 3 of 10 from the field. Irvin with a three for the Wolverines.
Mike, you just feel like it's time for Zach Irvin to bust out here. Has not shot the ball well in Big Ten play. He's only shooting 34% on the three-point line. I'm telling you, with his stroke, and the shots that he takes, he's a 40-plus, 45% shooting guy. Just feel like there's going to be a game where he goes about 6 for 8.
Work inside. We'll earn a couple of free throws for Nebraska on the other side of the timeout, with Siobhan Shields at the line here in Ann Arbor.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by the Cree LED bulb, the biggest thing since the light bulb, and in part by the Mazda 3.
Back in Ann Arbor, the Wolverines lead by 1. Nebraska getting back, hopefully for more time tonight. One of their players they were missing Saturday. For more on that, here's Samantha Ponder.
Yeah, Mike, you guys have been talking a lot tonight about Walt Pitchford. This is a big night for him. Coming off of the ejection just 4 minutes into that last game, Tim Miles said after the game that he deserved it, and he said that's not us. Now, Walt privately apologized to the team for letting his frustration get the best of him, but he'll probably be on his best behavior out here tonight because he's got around 30 family members in attendance. He's played really well in the past when he has that much family, or maybe just kind of enjoys that pressure and attention a little bit. But before the game, he talked about the fact that he kind of sees himself as a 6'10" shooting guard. We've seen some of that already tonight, but Coach Miles told him after that Incarnate Word game, when the shot's not falling, who are you going to be? And how are you going to help the team? They definitely want him to be more of a rebounder out here tonight.
Pitchford has made just 26 three-pointers this year, which isn't a bad number for his size, but he's a guy who shoots at a better percentage in past seasons.
6'10" shooting guards in college basketball get you fired.
Do they?
Yes, they do.
Sam mentioned the Incarnate Word game. That's the disappointing loss on that schedule for Nebraska. It happened in December. They lost a 1-point game at home to the team from Texas. After the split free throws, Michigan comes back, knocks down the jumper. It's 5 points for Dawkins, who had a terrific breakout game against Illinois right before New Year's when he had 20.
Out of nowhere, he had 20 in that game. Came in at 4 threes in the first half. But I like what he did right there. Hey, he came off a screen just like what Irvin did earlier, just lifted right up. Michigan's got great people movement in this game. They're not just moving the ball or standing around, they're moving people.
Clock at 10. Michigan's playing a lot more zone over the last few games. The drive by Webster contorts his body. Can't finish. Irvin with the push for the Wolverines. Used the screen at the top by Bielfeldt. Nebraska worked at the shoot around this morning, but all that motion that Michigan gives you, usually 4 on the outside, 1 on the inside. Late clock, Spike Albrecht shot was turned away. Bielfeldt trying to hand to Irvin, who'll take a late clock shot. And hit a 3.
Telling you, he's due. He is too good a shooter to shoot miserably, and he has shot miserably of late.
8 of 24 his last 2 games.
Yeah, and that's just not him. And he takes good shots for the most part.
Out of the corner, Petaway with the 3 off for Nebraska. You saw the Michigan three-point numbers, the Power 7 conferences, the Big 5 we talk about in football, and then you add the American and the Big East. With the good teams there, those 7 conferences make the majors, if you will, in college basketball.
Mike, Michigan's making a little bit of a mistake here in the zone. It cost him a 3 by Parker earlier. They're paying too much attention to non-shooters. Now, in man-to-man, we'll see if they help off, but you have to squeeze Petaway.
Could go the other way. They'll say Petaway used the arm to clear space in the first foul on Teran Petaway for Nebraska. Big game in the Big Ten on Thursday night. It'll be Maryland and Ohio State. 2 of the best freshmen, not only in the conference, but in the country. In Melo Trimble of the Terps, D'Angelo Russell of the Buckeyes. And then Kentucky continues its role to try to stay undefeated. It'll be in Columbia to take on Missouri. That's the lineup Thursday night on ESPN. Kentucky at 19-0, playing incredible defense. They've kept 7 teams under 30% from the field this year.
Well, they can guard the rim. They have enough quickness, enough size, and they can guard the rim. And even when they're not there, I've seen so many teams miss layups thinking somebody was going to get there. Hey, that matchup in the Big Ten, though, D'Angelo Russell is as good as you're ever going to see as a freshman guard.
Petaway at 3. He wanted to get hot here after Irvin's been off to the good start. The miss, the rebound taken by David Rivers. First offensive rebound of the game for either team, and Nebraska can't convert it.
Leslie Smith is a terrific player at knowing where to be, number 21. He just can't move real well because he's had 2 ACL surgeries. He's a 5th-year kid that, just to help the team, came back in 5.5 months from an ACL. Knows that this is it, now or never. Doesn't have real good lift, but man, he knows how to play, number 21 for Nebraska.
Shot clock at 8. Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman defended tightly by Parker. Shot is off, and there is Smith. Dan mentioned the ACL. The second tear came July 3rd. He returned essentially half a year later, 188 days later. Extraordinarily fast return for Smith.
He doesn't have any lift, but he has savvy. And he was not great statistic-wise at 7 rebounds, but he was a dominant post player and talker in the Michigan State win.
Denied there. Kicked it out, though, for the Terrence Smith 3. The freshman is off the mark. Good defense here by the Wolverines. Nebraska has opened 2 of 11.
Michigan's had 4 straight bad possessions.
Irvin on the pass is fouled. Nebraska's missed its last 5 shots. And we'll talk about Nebraska's defense when we come back. And how do you guard number 21 when he shows up in the corner? Michigan leads by 5. Zach Irvin has hit 2 3-pointers, and Dan, that's always on the scouting report. How do you cover Irvin in the corner?
Mike, it is. It's the #1 decision you have to make, how to guard the corner jump shot when you're playing against Michigan. What Michigan does is they'll set a high ball screen or a little side ball screen, bringing the ball towards the basket on this kind of a line. They always put a shooter in the corner. What Wisconsin does is they don't leave the shooter. We're going to stay right here with you. Well, earlier in the game today, Petaway, who was guarding the corner, stood in here trying to help. Kick went. Irvin got a shot. The biggest decision you have to make, how are you going to guard a shooter in the corner? Because Michigan always has a shooter in the corner.
And Dan refers to the Wisconsin game on Saturday. And here's what my partner was talking about. Watch Petaway, the key guy here in the middle of that zone for Nebraska. with the ball in the action at the top with Doyle. He's got to make the choice here. Does he stay here or does he go out to close out? There he does. It's a hair late. Irvin missed the shot, but that's part of the decision-making process from a scouting standpoint. How are you going to approach it? Now, here's my question. Second half happens. You see what they're doing. Will you adjust defensively what you do?
Wisconsin did not. Wisconsin has a set way. This is how we're going to play you. Most teams would. It depends on who's in the corner, who's hot, who's not, and who's driving the ball. But I'm telling you, that's the number one decision you have to make.
Drive there by Pettaway, no. And on the rebound, it's a foul. Is that Pettaway? That would be his second foul. So that's big for Nebraska. Teran Pettaway, their best scorer, 0 for 4 from the field. And he's picked up 2 first-half fouls here for Tim Miles.
Well, Miles is going to get him out. He's going to bring Webster back in. And now, if you are Michigan, you only have to pay attention to Shields. You know, you cannot let Siobhan Shields, if you're Michigan, get a bucket for as long as Pettaway's out. Somebody else gets a bucket, fine, but Shields cannot.
Your son brought the ball up the court. Did you see that?
I did.
Yeah. Andrew Dockich is in the game, and he gets fouled here by Terrence Smith, the freshman. I think if you were with us last year, Andrew walked on here at Michigan, played a couple. Matter of fact, when Michigan won the Big Ten regular season championship in Champaign, Andrew was the one dribbling it out at the end of the game. And then with all the injuries we talked about, including no Derek Walton, Andrews had to burn what would have been a red shirt and is now playing in his third game of this season.
Yeah, they got injured, and Andrew went to the coaches and said, hey, I'll help the team. I'll do whatever you want, whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And he was smart enough to get the ball to Max Bielfeldt, his big calves. He knocks one in.
Bielfeldt knocks down the shot. 7-0 run for Michigan.
Again, in this zone, you absolutely have to know where Shields is. You don't need to go for any shot fakes. You just have to know where Shields is. And Tim Miles doing a good job. He's moved Shields 3 different places in 15 seconds of zone work.
Leslie Smith inside breaks the long drought. 6.5 minutes. 6:50 officially since the last field goal for the Cornhuskers.
I just like Leslie Smith. I talked about his injury. He knows his way around. He doesn't play over anybody. He plays below people.
Dockich out of the corner. Skip pass to Cam Chapman. That 3 is an air ball and a rebound by Smith.
Well, Chapman is shooting under 20% for the season. He needs to take that ball and drive it. You got to know who you are and drive the basketball when you're not going.
David Rivers, who did not play in the last game because of a knee injury, is in number 2 for Nebraska. Clock down to 12. Shields working on Chapman, works inside. And a foul as he was working on the turn. Chapman, the lefty freshman, will be called for the foul. Tomorrow night we'll have an NBA doubleheader, and you need to check out Atlanta. 16 consecutive wins. They try to make it 17 in a row against Brooklyn. And then I'll join Mark Jackson and Lisa Salters in Phoenix. We'll see the Washington Wizards, the second best team in the East, take on the Suns from the Super Bowl city of Phoenix. That's tomorrow night. NBA doubleheader on ESPN.
Why is Atlanta so much better? You just can't pin it on Horford, can you?
No. They're just moving the ball effectively. There you go. A lot of people who are just playing well. The ball movement is terrific. Mike Budenholzer, former assistant for Greg Popovich in San Antonio. They're getting that ball movement. And right now in an East where people haven't been able to put wins together, they have.
They have. And they're fun to watch.
The question becomes, will they be able to do it in the playoffs without a guy who's a stud scorer like a LeBron, like a Carmelo, the guys who we look at playoff time. But they've been fun to watch. Terrific season. Going for 17 in a row tomorrow night. Chapman's long last touch by Nebraska. Stays down here with Michigan. 8:52 to go. Wolverines leading here by 4.
I asked Coach Beilein, you see him right there, what's Chapman's best attribute? And he said passing. He's taking 2 jump shots. It's time for him to drive the basketball to the rim and use that skill.
The ball kicked out of bounds by Terrence Smith.
If you're Nebraska right now, you can't let Zach Irvin get a shot. You've got to make Dockich or you've got to make Chapman shoot jump shots, but Zach Irvin cannot get a shot.
We congratulate Terrence Smith on his soccer tryout in Nebraska. It's been strong. Hey, couple of kickballs.
People think kicking the ball is bad. He just saved the bucket there because the ball was going to go into the post. Doyle had pretty good position. Smith did a good job.
Doyle gives a screen, gets it back from Irvin, and travels.
Yeah, good call.
Pivot feet.
Pretty good defense. It looked like Doyle was going to get himself a lane to the bucket, maybe dunk, but David Rivers came over, kept his position, didn't go for any fakes, and Doyle ends up switching pivot feet.
How you doing, by the way, watching your son play?
Oh, I'm good.
Are you good?
Yeah, I am. I have an ability. I coached him for 4 years, and I can separate being a dad and being a coach. And yeah, no question.
God, I'm nervous for him. I mean, I've gotten to know Andrew the 4 years with you, and I'm nervous. You get to know this kid since he was in, about 10th grade, I guess. So it's fun to see. And remember, of course, Michigan fans know it very well when Bob Greasy was calling the games of Brian Greasy, playing quarterback for Michigan. And shot off the mark by David Rivers. And a good save and steal by Andrew. Chapman inside. Over Rivers.
Well, that's two good defensive plays by Rivers. Just staying strong, and he's not going to score a whole lot, but he is going to be tough, and he's going to provide depth. Really good.
Couple more subs coming off of the bench for John Beilein that he didn't think he'd be sending in the game at the same time in the first half of a tight Big Ten game. Shields, no, without Petaway, who's got 2 fouls. Been tough offensively. Nebraska 3 of 14 here. They need to win on the defensive end, and they were 3 of 15, I should say. Coaching staff was honest about that earlier on. Now it'll be on Andrew Dockich as Terrence Smith was chasing him down. Be Andrews first to have a timeout, under 8 at 7:11, with Michigan leading by 4. With Dan Dockich and Sam Ponder, Mike Tirico here in Ann Arbor. Michigan leading Nebraska 13-9. Struggling on the offensive end, low-scoring game. We're going to take a look at tonight's key ingredients presented by Papa John's. It's the evolution and the improvement of Siobhan Shields, the junior from Kansas, who each year has seen a significant bump in his points. At free throw shooting, he's gone up to 85%. It's been a very solid season, other than 3-pointers, which he's making at a much lower rate than normal. It's been another terrific growth step this year for Shields, who's closing in on 1,000 points.
I've learned about people, kids, when you are a really good guy and you work hard, you just keep getting better and better and better. And anybody that knows the story of Siobhan Shields and Avery Harriman, the assistant coach's son who's battling cancer, and what Siobhan Shields has meant to that kid, that family, he's a great kid. It's just no surprise that you just keep getting better and better and better.
What a scene it was in Lincoln. Chris Harriman is the 7-year-old son of the Nebraska assistant, and his continued battle with cancer in remission again for the 3rd time that he's battled as Pitchford comes across the lane and scores. And all the gold T-shirts that were there for that man's son, his 7-year-old son, Chris. What a great scene it was in Lincoln in the arena on Saturday, trying to get everybody involved in the bone marrow registry as they continue to help Avery's cause.
Hey, that move by Pitchford was fantastic. I mean, if he can add that to his game, Nebraska's really got something. How about Dawkins?
Tell you what, Aubrey Dawkins continues to show he's ready for playing time. At 7 points for Dawkins, breaks a 4-minute and 15-second drought for the Wolverines.
Wide down screen, a staple of John Beilein's offense. Dawkins has come off of it twice, curled into the lane, lifted up over a defender, and knocked it in. That is straight confidence.
Rivers pitches it back out. 2 fouls on Petaway. 0-5 from the field. The drive by Parker inside, no, but it's put back in by Rivers.
Michigan did not know whether they were in man-to-man or zone. 2 guys up top, including Sean Lonergan, were in man-to-man. The baseline didn't know it was open, and Parker went to the rim, and Rivers cleaned it up.
Sean Lonergan, number 20 in white. Back to you. The sophomore from Fishers, Indiana, has checked in. Abdur Rahman missed the 3, and Nebraska a chance, despite their really poor shooting here, 5 of 18, to tie the game or take the lead. Petaway out here directing traffic. Pitchford trying to slow it down. Terrence Smith's shot and missed. And the freshman didn't listen to the experienced guys. Dawkins.
There's that corner jumper, Mike.
Tim Miles takes a timeout. We'll be back in 30 seconds. It's been a big first half for Aubrey Dawkins. He has 10. Big start to Aubrey Dawkins in this first half.
Mike, he's 4-5, and you just said it off air. He has a calmness about him. He has a confidence about him. He hears his tight cuts, just lifts up over the bigger shields, and now you help off of him. Well, you don't help on a down screen, you got a real problem. And good for Michigan. They're finding him in transition. There's that corner jumper we were talking about. David Rivers just left the shooter alone in the corner. And when you do that, Michigan is going to find him. That's a sweet spot for Michigan's offense, and Dawkins is taking advantage.
One of the 6 true freshmen on this Wolverine team. Of course, it was restacked the roster after the entire starting 5 from the national championship game 2 years ago has found itself in the NBA. Michigan goes to the 1-3-1 zone. They have not worked on it a lot. Nearly forced to travel on the freshman. But Smith able to keep the possession alive. Shot clock at 10, and Petaway says, I got to take over here. Kept alive by Pitchford. And here is Siobhan Shields. It is an awful shooting show here for Nebraska. A little confusion with the referees, and Ted Valentine says Michigan ball. Able to help his colleagues Tim Clougherty and Kelly Prefer. Duke and Notre Dame journey to the tourney. Spotlight on impact games on the way to March in the bracket. Coach K got 1,000. Now he gets a pretty tough ACC back-to-back with Notre Dame and Virginia the next 2. It's tomorrow night, ESPN 2, 7:30 Eastern. That great offensive team that we've seen with the Irish.
Mike, the Irish were done, dead, and buried against North Carolina State. And then next thing you know, they win the game, send it to overtime, and get a win.
Dawkins looking for the foul on the contact, turned it over. So it'll be Nebraska ball when we come back. Struggling on offense, only down 5. Anish, thank you. Check in with you at the break. Speaking of must-win, every game's a must-win here in the Big Ten for these 3-loss teams trying to keep themselves in the top half of the conference. Terrant Petaway led the conference in scoring last year, and Dan, no points on 0 of 6 from the field. Is it Michigan's defense, or is it a cold night for Petaway?
It's a cold night for Petaway. Petaway's gotten the shots that he needs to make, or excuse me, that he needs to get to make. He has been around the rim. He's rushed things a little bit. Mike, I saw it on Saturday. It's almost like you wait for it. You know it's coming with Petaway. He banged in 2 threes, opened up the game. He keeps getting these shots. It's going to end up a big night for him.
Against the zone, looking for the space, trying to find the open shot. It's the freshman. And Terrence Smith missed it. Rebound by Michigan, and Dawkins working with Spike Albrecht, Max Bielfeldt, Zach Irvin, and Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman. Albrecht nearly turned it over, but it will stay down here with 28 on the shot.
You're going to see all these misses. These are shots that Terrant Petaway is just going to make. He took Spike Albrecht down on the block. That was his first shot of the game. And here, for some, that may be a bad shot. But look, he's supposed to do this, and you don't want to hang your hat on Terrant Petaway missing these shots. Need to get into him, need to bunch him, as Coach Beilein said, which means when he has the ball, the person on his left and on his right are in the gap, ready to help on him, not worrying about their own.
2 top players on each team, on each other. Good find inside. Bielfeldt off the assist from Irvin is having a very complete first half statistically.
Yeah, that was a terrific pass by Zach Irvin, and an even better finish. Max Bielfeldt kept the ball up, didn't even concern himself with Smith, who's about 4-6 inches shorter than him. Just went right over him, no worries, and made it.
Michigan back in the 2-3. They've been mixing, and that's what they're going to have to do here, Dan, with the personnel issues. 1-3-1, 2-3. Keep mixing, changing, throwing a little man. Smith knocks down the shot. After missing his first 3, Terrence Smith on the board.
Yeah, Terrence Smith's going to have to shoot. Michigan has adjusted. When the ball went into the block to Smith, Abdur-Rahman just completely stayed with and face guarded Petaway. They are not going to let Petaway get a shot.
Good job to draw the contact, give the official the choice, and Aubrey Dawkins picks up his first.
You know, ever since we said Aubrey Dawkins plays at a pace, he's had a turnover and he's had a charge. We'll jinx you.
Is that on the bingo card?
I don't know. I don't know, but I couldn't believe when I saw the bingo card, it didn't have Max Bielefeld's calves on it.
I thought it did.
Or Spike Albrecht's dad.
Spike Albrecht's dad, that's the one.
Yeah, you got to have Chuckle on there. Or
the folks who like to play along at home and chart our often visited topics like to look at that.
You know, when
administrative stop here for a moment, 2:24 to go.
When you look at Michigan and you look at what they're playing with, you made the comment earlier, Mike, and it's so true. I got to believe the coaching staff never believed in the middle of January this would be the lineup right here they have on the court. But you make do and you prepare guys. What John Beilein does, you see Karis LeVert there injured, what John Beilein does is he has all-star games after practice for guys that haven't played a lot. They're ultra competitive, and it prepares guys for situations like this.
We have seen Michigan go deep into the lineup. It was a transition year to begin with all the players I mentioned who headed off to the NBA in the last couple of seasons. Guys who did not come in with early entry thoughts. Albrecht took a shot as Shields drove. Shot clock at 4, and Siobhan knocks down the 3. So it's been a struggle there for 3 this year, but Shields hits one there.
Yeah, he's in the 20 shooting, but Spike Albrecht guarded him. He got knocked down, and then he just didn't get back to Shields. Shields is the guy. Hey, if Smith's going to make a bucket, Smith's going to make a bucket. But you cannot let Shields get a look. I don't care what his percentage is from 3.
He hit just 11 of 50 three-point shots coming into tonight. He was a much better shooter than that over the past couple of years. And at the line, he's 8th in the conference shooting. Nebraska digging in defensively here. Bielefeld the screen. Abdur-Rahman gets it to Irvin. Late clock shot for Abdur-Rahman. Shot clock violation. No basket. Never touched the cylinder. Good defense by Nebraska.
Great defense by Ty Webster. John Beilein can say what he wants, but Ty Webster got into the ball, got into Irvin off the ball, totally negated him in that possession, which resulted in a shot clock violation. And that's why Webster's playing. He wasn't playing hard earlier. He thought too much of himself. He had to get humbled, learn to work hard, and now he's contributing.
And Michigan got a little stagnant offensively these last couple of trips, and Nebraska's defense magnified that. Shields short corner catch, can't finish. Bielefeld the rebound. 49 seconds in the half. Dawkins from deep. I love the confidence he has for a player who has not played a ton of minutes this year.
Mike, his last 2 times he went to make a play, he took a bad shot. He charged and made a turnover on the baseline. Did not bother him. Just lifted up, had a little space, knocked it in.
Shockingly, Dan, Michigan has fouls to give.
Well, you're going to see about all of them here.
They only have a couple to give.
2 to give.
Yeah, 4 fouls. Albrecht gives 1. So Michigan's always, the last 3 years, been in the top 5 in team fouls. They don't foul a lot. They don't find themselves in the bonus. It's been a trademark of this team over the last couple of years. Andrew Dokic has 1 foul, so he's going to come in. He's a smart guy to give another foul in this situation potentially. Spike Albrecht has 1.
Yeah, John Beilein's smart. He doesn't want Spike to get 2.
Right.
So Andrew's in there to foul.
12 seconds. Tried to give the foul, and then it is called there at 9.3. By season with Michigan over the last couple of years, you see where John Beilein's team is, which is terrific. I came across a team, Carrollton College, just outside of Minneapolis, Division III. 4 straight years they've led the nation in fewest fouls committed, and they're 3rd this year. Kid who goes to our high school, the high school my kid goes to here in Michigan, kid named Peter Bacher, plays for that team. And his dad was telling me about it. I did the research on it. Carrollton, the least fouling team you can find in the country the last 5 years. Shields short, got a re-tee, got a chance. Short again, halftime. Oh, pretty good. Abdur-Rahman with the heave there at the end that almost went in, but did not. Irvin and Dawkins carried the team. As a matter of fact, they're 19. 1 more than Nebraska scored. Season low for the Huskers, and here's Samantha.
Coach, we saw you started small tonight offensively. What's your assessment of what you've seen so far?
Well, we're trying not to make it unwatchable, but I'm afraid that, we had such a slow shooting start, but we got to get good shots, be more aggressive. Our defense is fine, but we just have to, get a better rhythm, get some of those shots to go.
Speaking of the defense, one guy that's been able to shoot tonight is Dawkins. What do you need to do differently on him?
Yeah, I think more quickness on him. Right now we've got a big forward on him, and he's getting just a little too much rhythm.
Appreciate your time. Thanks. Coach.
Thank you, Samantha. That dude's really cool, Miles. And he will go tweet at halftime his thoughts. His fans can check out what he thinks. At the break, it's Michigan by 5. Here's Anish Sharaf with the Mazda halftime report. Anish. Continuing on, half 2, game 1, Super Tuesday on ESPN, presented by Cree LED Lighting. And not lighting it up in the first half. Michigan, Nebraska. 5-point lead for the Wolverines. Let's break it down against Michigan's zone, against man-to-man defense. Everything was effective for Michigan's offense and ineffective for Nebraska's defense, Dan.
Well, Nebraska, I believe, with an 0 for 6, a 2 for 14 combined between Shields and Pettaway, you got to like where you're at. You're only 5 down. Michigan's going to have to figure out Pettaway, because Pettaway, as we talked about, end of the first half, got really good looks. If he continues to get those looks, he's going to break this game open. I think on the other side, you've got to look at Zach Irvin. Zach Irvin, to me, is a guy that has to have a big second half. And back to Nebraska for a second. I thought that Pitchford was really good mentally in the game. He only has 1 bucket, but I thought his approach was really good. Throwing the ball to him on the block would be a good thing for Nebraska.
Do you want to go back to Michigan again, or can I go to Sam?
Let's go to Sam.
Here's Samantha Ponder.
How nice of you, Dan. He actually, when I talked to John Beeline, he echoed what Dan was just saying right there. Very concerned with Pettaway. That's his biggest concern here in the second half. They just can't let him get going. Also in the post, he's going to continue to go one-on-one, try and mix things up a little bit. That's also a concern. But offensively, as you guys know, you've been talking about this game, they just don't have very many shooters right now. And he said, we have got to get a shot every time we get down the court.
And it's one of the things that Nebraska is so good about defensively is per possession, keeping their opponents under a point per possession. And they did for the most part in that first half, as Michigan had 28 possessions. We'll see if that continues. As Dan said, give him a chance to win. Good job by Dawkins at the rim. It's a 2-on-1 with Abdur Rahman.
Well, that was fantastic by 2 freshmen. Parker had gotten to the rim, and Dawkins recognized it at the last second and blocked it. And then Abdur Rahman realized that Pettaway wasn't going to guard him, so he went to the rim.
And 3-1 played by Michigan. The foul on the drive will be picked up on Spike Albrecht, his second.
Mike, you see right here, 2 for 14, no points for Pettaway. He's 0 for 6. At least Shields has 2 buckets, and he's going to go to the line here, but the shots that Pettaway got, they are too good, really good. And if he gets those in the second half, 1 or 2 of them he's going to make, and then he's going to get going.
Five-point game. The Cornhuskers 12-7 on the season, 4-3 in conference play, looking to pick up their first Big Ten road victory. And for all these teams stacked, the half-dozen teams at 3 losses, road wins are going to be gold here this year. Albrecht, nice toss to the tin, and the finish by Ricky Doyle.
Well, Tim Miles put Trent Pettaway on Albrecht because Albrecht doesn't go to the free throw line, so he's saving him that way. In the Wisconsin game, Michigan realized they could make that play. A lob to the post. They missed it. They got it there.
The turnover there as Rivers trying to hit Pettaway. See Nebraska trying to figure out the 1-3-1. Remember back to the West Virginia days when John Beeline was so successful with the Mountaineers, the 1-3-1 was almost a staple of what they did.
Right now he has a terrific lineup for the 1-3-1. Other than Albrecht, everybody is long. Dawkins is long. Urban is long. Abdur Rahman is long. So you put Albrecht on the baseline.
As I alluded to earlier, going to that 1-3-1 really changed the Northwestern game. And it was great zone offense there. Irvin in the hot spot. And Zach Irvin's first field goal since we were 6 minutes into this one.
Yeah, really good. Irvin started on the side and went down into the middle.
Largest lead of the night. Michigan can add to it. Abdur Rahman to the basket. Timeout, Nebraska. Into the first 10 scored by Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan thought they had this a lot against Wisconsin, so they worked on it, and they got it right there. And now, in transition, Abdul-Rahman just going to the rim. Second easy layup in transition for Michigan.
All right, Michigan's 5-3 in the league. Right now, they're in 5th place. So we just put these standings in the order of the Big Ten. So let's just cross out Michigan here for a second. I want you to look at the bottom 5 of the Big Ten from Illinois down. That's where all of Michigan's wins are. All 5 of their wins. That's the worst draw of the year, by the way. All 5 of their wins have come against the teams that are 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 in the Big Ten. The dashes indicate teams they have not played yet. So the good news at 5-3 is you're not in bad shape within the conference. The bad news is you've won the ones, quote, you're supposed to win. Now you have opportunities, but also a difficult road for the balance of the Big Ten schedule.
Well, I hope websites get that and know that I'm a better drawer than you, because it's the only thing I'm better than you at, apparently. But no, you know what? You have to beat those teams. If you want to stay around the league, you have to beat those teams, particularly when you're banged up. Now, this would be a good win. It'd be a good win for both teams, but obviously Michigan would be one of the better teams in the league.
Doyle couldn't get that to go. Michigan had hit its last 7 shots, and they only have 13 in the whole game. So, yeah, it's been a great surge that has them up 11 here at home.
Mike, there are some misses that change the game. And it's not always the shot at the end of the game that beats you. That miss by Doyle would have been particularly costly had Pittsburgh knocked that in.
One of those 5-point swings, but momentum gets stopped
right
on a dime.
They had the ball right on the rim with Doyle.
Albrecht working inside, and Spike will come to the line. And when he does, it'll be Michigan's first free throws of the evening.
Nebraska foul on.
We got Shields for that foul, one on Siobhan. And Siobhan is often mentioned during Nebraska games, but we don't see them on Super Tuesday often. The son of Will Shields, the multi-time Pro Bowler, who is in the College Football Hall of Fame, and Siobhan's dad, Will Shields, will be up for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That announcement coming up this weekend, Super Bowl Saturday out in Arizona. Spike Albrecht has battled injuries, an upper body injury during the season, upper respiratory infection that kept him out of the Northwestern game 10 days ago. And he has started the last 5, and Michigan on this 8-0 run, leading by 13.
He's got a bad hip as well. His dad told me, you know, he don't want anybody to know. He just keeps playing.
By the way, on the drive,
you can't
realize that these mics are open and people can hear us.
No, I just thought you and I were talking. If he didn't want me to tell anybody, he shouldn't have told me. That's like a given.
Doyle operates from the top. Albrecht comes around to get it.
So you see a much better closeout. Exactly what Tim Miles told Sam at halftime. We got to get into Dawkins. Now he went with some height there. There you go.
Doyle working on Pittsburgh.
You got to go there. You got a terrific shot the previous time. Doyle just missed. So you go right back there. You expose Nebraska to a foul, and you get it to a guy. That's a good matchup, Doyle against Pittsburgh.
Nebraska has missed all 4 shots this half. They've missed their last 7 shots. Going back to the end of the first half, 7 of 31.
I'm telling you, he's itchy. Petaway is itchy.
Shields started the drive, but there was a little banging going on between Doyle and Pitchford, the 2 bigs, and Ricky Doyle will pick up his second foul as we hit the under 16-minute media timeout. Michigan getting in the paint. All 6 of their shots have come in the paint in this half, outscoring Nebraska 12-2 since the break. Time for the Dan Dakich Index again. This is not the order, but this is how they're playing right now.
Yes.
In order.
Yeah, and Indiana, Ohio State, I know what you're going to say. Ohio State just beat Indiana, but I got to tell you, Indiana's playing as well as any team you're going to see. Ohio State matched them little for little. Nebraska's won 4 out of 5. I'm going from reverse. Maryland lucky to survive a very game Northwestern team with a terrific freshman in Bryant McIntosh. And look, Wisconsin is Wisconsin. They came in here, hostile crowd, game day, gave away a late lead, but ended up showing terrific toughness and got the win.
Northwestern so darn close. They really
They've always been close.
Yeah, they just feel even closer. The 1-point loss to Maryland, the 2-point loss to Ohio State, 2 points here to Michigan, 5 points to Illinois, an overtime loss to Michigan State. They've played some very good games of late. It's just a team to keep an eye on as we hit the halfway point in the conference season at the end of this week.
Hey, Mike, one thing I do, I was glad to see former Northwestern coach Bill Carmody.
Yeah.
Special assistant at Fairfield. Sidney Johnson was a former player of his. I thought that was great. That's great for Sidney Johnson to have a guy as brilliant as Bill Carmody on your staff or even around your program.
Terrific defense out of the timeout by the Wolverines. The three is an air ball from Ty Webster, who was struggling with his shot earlier on this season. And Nebraska's offense is struggling. Irvin, a three.
That play was made by Spike Albrecht. When you dribble at a wing in Michigan's offense, the wing will come in behind. Spike Albrecht and Irvin read it together, knocked it in.
Pettaway knocks down the three. Teran Pettaway finally on the board. His first field goal after 7 misses. It ends a 13-0 Michigan run.
Yeah, Teran Pettaway can get going. And when he did the same thing against Michigan State. Hit a three, came back with another three. We'll see, because he's going to shoot next time he gets it.
Albrecht with shot fake. Max Bielfeldt looked for the hit inside. Albrecht, no. Great job in the glass by Bielfeldt.
Boy, that'll just make you crazy if you're Tim Miles. Bielfeldt goes about 6'7". Pittsford goes about 6'11" with long arms, and Bielfeldt just got underneath and moved him out and got the bucket.
And as we said, these are two of the poorest offensive rebounding teams in the country. That was a terrific second chancer for Bielfeldt.
I'm finding Pettaway. If I'm Nebraska, I'm getting the ball to Pettaway. He's shooting.
He's frustrated too. He's calling for it, waiting in the corner. Good drive and take by Terrence Smith. In Nebraska, rare. They put field goals up on back-to-back possessions here in this struggle of an offensive game.
Terrence Smith is going to be a good basketball player here in the Big Ten. He played for Bob Hurley, legendary coach at St. Anthony's, had a 2-hour commute every day to get to school. He's a kid that knows how to play. He's fearless and he's tough, just like you'd expect out of a St. Anthony's kid.
Pick and pop. Bielfeldt, no. Here comes Nebraska, a chance to score, stop, and get another score. Shields in the corner begging for it. He's got space. He's got a look. Good patience to drive that. I love when guys do that, Dan.
Yep.
He was just sitting in the corner waiting, and he didn't get anxious. He got the better shot.
And he realized who was closing out on him, and it was Bielfeldt, and he knew he can go right past Bielfeldt, and he did.
Much better shooting half for the Wolverines. 7 of 10 from the field. Dawkins protects. Couldn't spin it in. Bielfeldt, another offensive rebound. Abdur-Rahman had poked away from behind by Terrence Smith.
Boy, that was a great play by Smith, Mike, because they being Nebraska, out of control defensively.
And he came down before the pass, and Webster turns it over with the travel.
Hey, play with your head up, people. We're going to show you Spike Albrecht right here, and you see ahead of him, number 44, Bielfeldt. Watch Spike Albrecht. He reads it. He goes right into where Zach Irvin is going to be. Hands it off. Pittsford was not ready to play transition defense, and you better play transition defense against that guy because he is locking and loading every time he gets a chance. It's a 6th assist for Spike Albrecht. Had a chance for a 7th one. Last possession ended up in a turnover.
Freshman Cam Chapman from Portland, Oregon has checked in. Number 3 from Michigan. Albrecht trapped. Got around Leslie Smith. Got around Terrence Smith. Found Irvin. 5-on-4 Nebraska as they push up the floor.
Mike, that ball sliced.
Benny Parker off the bench into the basket.
Number 1 rule in transition defense. What is it? Stop the ball. The ball scores. Somebody protect the basket and stop the ball. Nobody did for Michigan, and credit Benny Parker. He just put his head down, found an opening.
That's 2 possessions in a row. Nobody stopped the ball for the Wolverines. Bielfeldt. 3 offensive rebounds, but that one's taken away. Here's Siobhan Shields to the basket. Pre-shot foul on the floor on Michigan. Nebraska with a little push here, middle of the half.
First guy back, put your hand under the rim. second guy stopped the ball, but if there is no second guy in transition, Spike Albrecht's got to turn and sprint back. He and Abdul Rahman, there you are, stop the ball. Nobody does, nobody protects the rim, layup Nebraska.
Well, all of our Sports Center colleagues are out in Scottsdale getting you ready for Super Bowl 49. The coverage continues on Sports Center on the road throughout the week, culminating on Sunday leading up to the game as well. Started by Michigan man Tom Brady, trying to win his 4th Super Bowl and equal the most as he appears in his 6th. There's another man with Big Ten ties, Russell Wilson, as quarterback. And they're one of the Maze Rage, the Michigan student section, in their Tom Brady jerseys. You see a bunch of more Tom Brady jerseys now than when he played here.
That guy looked like Tom Brady coming out of college. No?
No, not really. No.
A little bit.
No.
I saw the videos from the combine.
Very thin, very different story. And of course, Russell Wilson was at North Carolina State, so you can hold the ACC-based tweets. We know that. But he did win the Rose Bowl and play at Wisconsin. Claims both schools proudly. And when he's introduced at the Super Bowl, they'll say from Wisconsin. So there you go.
How about, what did he do? He came in the summer after playing baseball at North Carolina State, and then by the end of the summer was named captain of the team.
Yeah, before he ever took a snap with the guys.
Man.
Incredible leader. Incredible kid to be around. Andrew Dockich has checked in. Abdul Rahman on the drive. Contact. Bang on the bucket. Chance of a three-point play for Muhammad Ali Abdul Rahman of Michigan. Here's Samantha.
Mike, in that last huddle, Tim Miles was concerned with the energy of his team, specifically Petaway. We've talked about him all game. Obviously, the shot's not falling. He wants him to get to the hoop more. Just take it to the rim and attack. He wants him to be more of an aggressor, which is interesting because this is a guy that Coach Miles compared to Latrell Sprewell. And that's, of course, without the strangling. But he's got it in him to be more aggressive. Coach Miles just wants to see it.
They worked on it all week. Petaway getting the ball either on the baseline or at the top of the key, squaring his shoulders and being more aggressive to draw contact, not just relying on a jump shot. And it didn't matter. According to Coach Miles, they wanted him to do it in transition. They wanted him to do it in half court. Just hasn't done any of it today.
Turnover by Petaway. Again, it is up to Rahman again to the basket. So it's a big half here for the freshman from Allentown, Pennsylvania. And Nebraska takes another timeout. Third time in 4 games that Muhammad Ali Abdul Rahman has scored 9 points. These all coming in the second half.
Hey, that was just a lazy, ridiculous pass by Petaway. And why would Tim Miles have to worry? You see it goes off Chapman's knee. Why would you ever have to worry about energy with 18 to 23-year-old kids? You've just won 4 out of 5 if you're Nebraska. You just had a heck of a win. Sometimes handling success is far more difficult than handling failure. And I got to tell you, Mike, Nebraska has not handled at all the success and the, I'm sure, adulation they received from their fans after the big win against Michigan State.
Petaway scored 32 in the game, played all 40 minutes on Saturday. Quick turnaround here. It's an interesting, different place for this program and these players.
Right.
Because they woke up this year to expectations. Remember, this is a Nebraska team that has long struggled, had not been to the NCAA tournament since 1998, but tied for 4th in the conference, made the tournament, lost to Baylor in the NCAAs last year. But with Petaway and Shields and Pitchford coming back, good things were expected of this team this year. A couple of poor losses. It's been a struggle. Shields attacks the basket, fouled by Doyle. And really, again, Petaway and Shields are their offensive threats. They must carry this team. Michigan's giving them attention, and they're struggling as a whole tonight.
It's not even that, though, Mike. It's not those two. It's their entire look tonight. You know, and that's one of the things that makes great programs great. I mean, when's the last time you really said, hey, look, Tom Izzo's team didn't show up to play? They got beat the other night by Nebraska, but they had 24 offensive rebounds. They played as hard as they could play, couldn't make a shot. Well, this team right here, they're not going after it. It's almost like making shots dictates how hard they're going to play, and you got to eliminate that.
Shields and Petaway, 4 of 17 from the field combined here tonight. Michigan by 15, foul on the outside. And they'll get Leslie Smith for that one.
Nebraska foul.
Top 9 here in the 14-team Big Ten. Again, all the Michigan wins have come teams not on the board there, 10 through 14. But we have a half dozen teams sitting on 3 losses, and Michigan trying to get to 6-3 before they go and spend Super Bowl Sunday an hour north of here in East Lansing, taking on his own Spartans.
Like Purdue, Indiana play Wednesday, and that's a real opportunity for Purdue, having Indiana at home. Real opportunity.
Bielfeldt to Chapman, clock at 10. Chapman on the drive, tough pass. Bielfeldt was well covered by Shields.
When you drive in your Michigan, you go the other way, meaning you drive it from one side and kick it out the other. Again, they didn't stop the ball. Dockage was back, but he didn't put himself in a position outside the arc to take a charge. Hey, you get back, you got to make a play.
Benny Parker has 7 now, 13-point game. Irvin, Bielfeldt the slip. Chapman the baseline drive, he stepped on it. And back-to-back turnovers here for Michigan.
Yeah, and both by Chapman. Chapman really struggling with where to go and when to go. You know, he took 2 bad jump shots in the first half, so I'm sure the coaches say, hey, look, drive the ball, use your passing ability, which is what he does best. But you got to know when to do it. You can't force a drive against a team that's as good a defensive team in the Big Ten.
Cam Chapman's sore knees has impacted his practice time, some of his play. Started the first 14 games of the Michigan season. Straight on 3, Petaway. Bielfeldt. Good job.
Bielfeldt's doing a good job, Mike. He's battling. He's the only guy of any size for Michigan. He's doing a fantastic job.
3 of those rebounds on the offensive end, and Michigan rarely gets offensive boards. They only average 9 per game. And Andrew Dockage, nope, called for the travel? I don't think so. Actually, he's stepping through that. And called for the travel as he was doubled by Petaway and Leslie Smith.
Yeah, he had to step through, and his teammates had to come and help him out. Every time you're in a trap, somebody's got to come back to the middle of the floor and get the ball. Nobody came, and he got a little upright and traveled.
Nebraska chance to get it back down to 11 or 10 if this 3 goes, and it does. With Terrence Smith, rarely hits 3-pointers, just 3 all year until that one.
Yeah, but he's locked in. Yes. Smith has played really well. He's the one guy that's brought energy, whether it was zone or man-to-man.
Shot fake by Bielfeldt.
Does he help? Man, does he help. You know, he took a 3 earlier, missed, didn't come close, and then instead of taking another one, just calmly shot fake, created space, knocked it out.
8.6 rebounds for Max here tonight. You see Smith is playing with that confidence. Petaway now trying to line up Albrecht against this zone, use the screen at the top to split it, and gets fouled on the shot. So 2 free throws coming this time. 7.5 to go, and the Wolverine lead is a dozen.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by the Cree LED bulb, the biggest thing since the light bulb. And in part by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2015 John R. Wooden Men's Player of the Year Award.
Tomorrow night, got that story of the father and the son. You know the dad, the hip-hop icon Snoop Dogg, rising football star son Cordell. The journey to fulfill a dream. Snoop and son, a dad's dream. Half a dozen episodes. Another one for you tomorrow night at 7 Eastern, right before our NBA coverage here on ESPN tomorrow night. Mike Tirico, Dan Dockage, Samantha Ponder with you here at the Chrysler Center in Ann Arbor. In 2 weeks, we'll be at Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln to see the team that's been atop the Big Ten in Wisconsin, and I'm really looking forward to that. The only loss Nebraska had in its new arena that opened last year at home was to Michigan. They've lost a couple of games this year at home. Their record is 9-3, but every game I've watched there has been spectacular. I know you had a good experience Saturday on your visit with Bob Wischusen?
Mike, you walk in there and it's just a wow factor. And, in talking to Chris Harriman, the assistant coach of Nebraska, he said, that's what we have to do. He said, you're at Michigan. There's Chris right there. He said, we're at Michigan and we've got, Michigan has top 50 players all over the place. Indiana, the same thing.
Close
by proximity. Yeah.
Ohio State.
Yeah. And he said, all these schools in the Big Ten do. He said, we don't. So we have to use our unofficial visits basically as official visits, and we have to wow you. And I got to tell you, they do. It is fantastic.
Lead down to 10. And the pressure extended defensively tries to slow the Wolverines getting into their offense. Abdur-Rahman lost his man Parker. Couldn't convert in the lane. Chance for an opportunity. Numbers break here for the Huskers. Petaway, 3. Short. Kept alive by Terrence Smith.
Well, Benny Parker has done a great job of getting the ball down the court.
Smith off on the 3, and Irvin goes up to get the rebound for Michigan. His 10th, the double-double for Zach Irvin here tonight.
What a difference. We saw Spike Albright get the ball to Irvin. He made. There goes Spike.
Couldn't finish again. Numbers for Nebraska. And again, it's the speed of Parker. And one more time, can't finish. That's 3 in the last 6 minutes. Petaway trying to get himself going. Brutal night. 1 of 11 for the leading scorer in the Big Ten last year.
This ball for Michigan has to get in the hands of Zach Irvin at some point here. He needs to be the guy shooting shots. And I don't care how much he's missing. The ball's got to go to Petaway on the other end.
Albrecht saw Dawkins, who had just stopped as he broke open, and that little half-second delay forced him to step on the line and turn it over.
Yeah, if he'd have broken that off going to the rim, he would have had a layup. Instead, he just kind of cut. He didn't cut to score. He just cut, and there's a big difference.
1-3-1. Where are the shots against this defense?
The shots are going to be, all you got to do is watch Petaway. You know the baseline. You know the wings. And what they've done is they've gotten the ball to Parker, and he's driven it into the middle.
Contracts that zone, and the contact is a Ted Valentine foul call on Bielfeldt of Michigan.
Michigan foul on 44, Max Bielfeldt.
Petaway, as you see Derek Walton there, who's injured and out for the game, he along with Austin Hatch. But Petaway is the guy. Hey, look, his shot looked really good. In and out, missed. If I'm getting the ball to him, I'm living or dying with him, because at some point he's going to make some shots.
Foul on Bielfeldt was his first, and as you saw, Michigan has 6 team fouls. When we take a look at tonight's amazing play, which is brought to you by Quicken Loans. The amazing has been limited here tonight. But we had a couple of three-pointers knocked down. Aubrey Dawkins, 13 points in the first half. Has not scored here in the second half, but a good part of this Michigan lead, sitting now at 47-37. Why don't you hold this up with me? You talked about this yesterday, or Saturday, I should say. Chris Harriman, the assistant coach for Nebraska. Everybody, including you, were wearing these Avery Strong shirts. Awareness to childhood cancer. Also, a young man who here in Ann Arbor has been battling that. Lloyd Carr's grandson, Chad, he's been battling it. A lot of people I live here, a lot of people have been wearing these bracelets. Chad Tough, the same thing. And childhood cancer, just such a brutal thing to even discuss and talk about. And Mott Children's Hospital here at Michigan, Chad's mom, Tammy, did so much work, much like the Harrimans are doing in Lincoln, for awareness for childhood cancer. And just Avery, we're thinking of you, and Chad, we're thinking of you back in New York, getting another treatment there with his parents. Just breaks your heart, and you love these college kids, these basketball players who have been so supportive of the people around university athletics, trying to give these kids smiles on their faces and using their platform to get attention to these diseases. Spin move, beautiful by Shields. It's an 8-point game.
And that right there, Siobhan Shields, is Avery Harriman's favorite player. Siobhan Shields has done, he and Avery Harriman have become really good friends, really close. It's just ironic, as you were talking about that, Shields goes and gets the bucket.
Good defense by Parker, trying to get under Abdur-Rahman. Dawkins to Bielfeldt, had a great half. Continues.
Wow. Mike, that should not happen. Look, Max Bielfeld's a tough player, but Pittsford is bigger, stronger, more experienced, and Bielefeld is just burying him on the block.
10.7 rebounds here for Max Bielefeld. Comes to the hands of Pitchford. 15 still on the clock, so there's time. Albrecht, great hustle. Out of the corner, Shields.
Spike Albrecht made that play. Spike Albrecht got his hands on 2 different basketballs. It discombobulated Nebraska. And sometimes a shot that's open isn't open because of the discombobulation.
Blocking foul call as Albrecht went to the basket. Pitchford thought he was set. Instead, he picks up his second foul.
That's a heck of a move here. Again, he realizes who he has on him, and he just spins. And I'm giving Bielefeld credit. Look how deep he gets here, Mike. Look, he's got 2 feet in the lane. Hey, you give a big guy 2 feet in the lane right under the bucket, he's going to make it. Great offense by Bielefeld. Really bad defense by Pitchford. He's got to be tougher than that before the ball ever gets to Bielefeld.
Season high for Max is 18. He scored 9 and 8 his last couple of games. So with the injury to Karis LeVert, people need to score, and Bielefeld feeling some of that. There is Karis LeVert, done for the season after foot surgery. After the Northwestern game, got hurt the very last play of the game. Those of us who were here at the game didn't even know that he got hurt. People left. It was a dramatic end to the game. Northwestern nearly scored the basket. And then the next day, Sunday, you wake up and find out LeVert's done for the year. Shrinking defense by Michigan. Good ball rotation to find the open man. They just can't hit the shots. Pitchford off on the 3, and Zach Irvin dribbled it on the baseline. Fans down that end say Benny Parker should have been called for the foul. But at least his hustle defensively keeps it alive at 4:15 to go.
Benny Parker's played a really good game. He's pushed tempo. He's created energy for Nebraska, created that turnover there. Again, Pitchford with a great look, just didn't knock it in. I got to believe Pettaway's going to go here at some point.
This team is 4 of 19 shooting the 3, and Pettaway draws the contact on Abdur Rahman, and it's 7th foul on Michigan, so it's a 1-1 at the 4:10 mark here in the second.
Yeah, Pettaway was not going to be denied again. Tim Miles has worked with Pettaway extensively on squaring shoulders up to a defender, foot fake, make a drive, get fouled.
66% shooter.
You get that hand in there, and again, okay, there's a little bit of acting, but Abdur Rahman made a mistake by extending his arm into Pettaway, and you're going to get that call.
10-point game, 4:10 left.
I like what Nebraska's doing here. Nebraska's quicker at all 3 perimeter spots. This is a good matchup for Nebraska right here.
Now watch the 10-second count. Albrecht able to do it with the dribble. Nice job by Spike.
Here comes Irvin.
Fading shot. Got hit on the release. Have it and one. Big shot. Good bounce for Irvin. Michigan up a dozen. Final TV timeout. Anish working the Tom Brady reference from earlier on here. So we'll send you down to the game in the SEC next.
There he is.
Yep. Who do you like in the Super Bowl? You incessantly annoyed America telling us that you were right on the college football championship
I was.
and the semifinal. So you know, if your buddy Urban Meyer to help you out here, who do you like in the New England-Seattle game?
Let's talk about it. You shimmied over right there in the semifinals because I was right about the semifinals.
Just tell me who you like.
Patriots. I'm going to catch a lot of grief.
It's okay.
In Indianapolis, but I do. I just think the Patriots are the best football team in the league.
That's fine. Michigan leading by 13 here. 3:40 to go. Don't need your life story. Just need an answer. Wolverines that 1-3-1. And the bad pass as Albrecht waits to draw the contact, and Parker turns it over.
Spike Albrecht took a little break, a few minutes, came back in, and he's turned this game around. He's got his hands on basketballs. He's been the energy guy offensively, and he made a terrific play right there. Getting in front of a driving player and forcing a turnover.
Shot clock at 10 will come out. Maybe trap Albrecht, dribble around it. Bielfeldt, beautiful. Everybody in the building thought Irvin in the corner was going to get it, except the delivery man, Albrecht.
Oh, man. That was...
Wow. Turnover by Petaway.
Mike, you're so right. I mean, right here, there's a guy in the corner. Everybody thinks it's going a little wraparound. Oh, man, was that sweet. You know, if we didn't just have dunks or buzzer beaters, this would be a Sports Center top 10 play right here.
Is that a sell?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a fantastic pass. That's D'Angelo Russell-like.
Well, 50% and good defense for the opponent's been part of the story of Tim Miles' team throughout. 36 straight teams held under 50%. Michigan right there tonight. Bielfeldt, another offensive rebound. He and Albrecht have been outstanding. Four of those 8 rebounds, offensive boards.
Mike, at the Michigan basketball banquet last year, John Beilein, and I'm quoting here, said Max Bielfeldt is going to be unstoppable next year. Now, he hasn't exactly been unstoppable, but he has been a force in this game, and he's been a force in his last 3. He's really stepped his game up as injuries mounted for Michigan.
Big man by committee, Mark Donnell, has not done much in the game here tonight. Another foul here by Nebraska, trying to get Michigan to the line. Ricky Doyle has started. The freshman has had good moments. Started the last 10 games, but Bielfeldt coming around here. That three-headed monster needs to be maximized for Michigan to have success here going forward as they look for another offensive weapon.
Well, both Donnell and Ricky Doyle have had more than their share of opportunities, and you know what? That's the problem when you don't play well and somebody else gets a chance. You become Wally Pipp to Bielfeldt's Lou Gehrig.
I was wondering when the Max Bielfeldt-Lou Gehrig comparison was going to come tonight. And
is that on the bingo card?
Here we are at 8:45 Eastern time.
Have we said Aaron Kraft yet?
Just did.
Oh.
Tradition continues. Where Nebraska's offense has not handled this 1-3-1 look from Michigan very well. Shields nearly traveled. Saved by Albrecht. That's fine. The clock's still running. It's down to 12. Well, he gave a reset there. A very late reset of the shot clock. Shields. Well, the story of the night for the Nebraska fans, you rarely will see Petaway and Shields combined for 5 of 23 from the field.
Well,
that's what's happened.
This is why Tim Miles has worked hard with Terrant Petaway to go get to the foul line. Your shots aren't always going to go. So get to the foul line, and, you know, I have not liked the way Terrant Petaway has handled not shooting the ball. It shouldn't matter when you're a great player. If you want to be a great player, it doesn't matter whether your shots go in. You just keep playing. You just keep being a great player.
Abdur-Rahman, no. Bielfeldt and Pitchford tied up underneath. It's a play on the other way with Smith. Tried the crazy reverse. Didn't get it. And this one has been done for a while, but that'll do it. 10-second difference in the shot and game clock. Irvin blocked by Petaway. It'll end up being taken away by Terrence Smith. No shot clock violation. Abdur-Rahman fouls Smith in the act of shooting with 7.7 to go. So Nebraska will try to get its act back together. They go to Minnesota on Saturday and then play Northwestern and Penn State after that. So teams beneath Tim Miles' team in the standings for the moment. And you mentioned Austin Hatch a moment ago, and he's going to come in the game for the first time in the Big Ten. You followed Michigan basketball. All stories been detailed multiple times. Survived 2 plane crashes. To kill his dad, stepmom, the second one that happened up in Charlevoix, Michigan, about 4 hours north of here. At age 8, the first plane crash he was involved in, lost his mom, older sibling. And Austin Hatch was promised a scholarship at Michigan, has come back, amazing physical and mental rehab in his story. Here he is on the floor in a Big Ten game. Third time he has played this year. Basket scored there by Pitchford. Michigan will inbound it, and the Wolverines will move to 6-3 here in the conference. (58-44) the final number tonight, and Michigan continues its performance success. They swept the Cornhuskers last year. This is the only meeting between these teams this year, unless, of course, they see each other in Chicago, the Big Ten tournament. Michigan with a tough stretch coming up. As mentioned, they go to East Lansing to play the Spartans on Sunday. And Iowa will be in here a week from Thursday. We'll have that for you on ESPN. And then Michigan will go to Bloomington to play Indiana and then at Illinois. So a tough stretch coming up. Michigan protects home court and for the moment sits alone in fourth at 6-3, hitting the halfway point of the 18 conference game season. Max Bielfeldt, terrific second half, standing by with Samantha.
Max, big night for you. 12 points, 9 boards. What enabled that kind of success?
I think, with another man down with D-Walt suffering from that foot injury, we just knew it was another thing that we just had to step up. And, everyone made a play. Everyone knew they had to step up and make some plays at a certain point, and, we just really brought it to them.
You mentioned the injury. Obviously, that's something you guys have dealt with a lot this year. How would you describe the way this team has responded?
I think it's just something that, we're getting used to, unfortunately, but the good side of that is that we're really able to adapt to it. And I think it really makes us a strong team. We know that we had freshmen come in and playing really extended minutes and playing well.
One of the big stories tonight was the way you were able to shut down Pettaway. How were you able to do that as a team tonight?
I think he's one heck of a player. We really just focused on him, making sure we knew where he was at all times, and just a team defense mentality.
Congratulations on the win. Thanks.
Thanks very much.
Mike, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Sam, good rebounding night for Michigan. They out-rebounded Nebraska by 8. Bielfeldt's work part of that. And the story for Nebraska, Durant Pettaway and Siobhan Shields, 5 of 23 from the field.
They got good looks early, Mike, and they did not handle not shooting the ball well either. They didn't lead their team. They kind of shut down, and when you do that on the road against a team like Michigan, you're going to lose.
Michigan 58, Nebraska 44 with Samantha Ponder and Dan Dockage. Mike Tirico. So long from Ann Arbor before Florida, Alabama. Back to the studio and Anish.